Night clings to the alley like a damp coat, neon drips from fire escapes and the air hangs heavy with a heat that hums. The city feels smaller without its electric heartbeat, every sign flickering like a tired eyelid. It's another sleepless night. The night is sweating tonight. Onward to what waits in the shadows. 3 cranberry-colored lions gather beneath a jaundiced street lamp, each different in stature and spirit. The first is Ruby, compact and quick, a bandage over one ear and a trench coat that never quite hides her readiness. The second is Pippin, smaller, nimble-fingered, with bright curious eyes. The third is Marlowe, tall and steady, a slow smile like a promise. They move like a community that has lived here too long to be surprised by anything but tonight's silence. "We have to find the switch," says Ruby. "Maps in hands," says Pippin. "We go together," says Marlowe. They melt into the alleys that know them. They are watched. 2 khaki-colored lions lean like knots of grain against a brick wall, lips curled into careful smirks. One moves like business, the other like politics, both smell opportunity. Their presence draws the alley's shadow a little taut. "Opportunity is a warm thing tonight," says one khaki voice. "Warm and useful," says the other. The 3 lions take measure and the air tightens. The blackout is not small, it is a statement. Campus towers gone dark, broadcasts folded into silence after a row over what professors might say into the night. The heat makes tempers short and the city brittle, knowledge and light tangled together. "They cut the feeds because the lectures were loud," says a voice from the crowd. "Knowledge shouldn't be a noise to be muffled," says another. The alley listens and plots in equal measure. The khaki pair have a plan that smells of broadcast towers and control. If they can turn all the city's screens into one steady drumbeat of weather, non-stop forecasts, repeats of heat and danger, they take attention, and in attention they take influence. If every channel only ever speaks of the sky, people stop hearing anything else, says one of the khaki lions. "We make weather the only language on screen," says the other. The alley holds its breath as the plan slides into motion. The real problem is the heat itself. No electricity turns simple comforts into impossible luxuries. Fans stall, refrigerators moan, old people sway in windowed rooms. The alley's small community feels the strain in the living and in the lectures that fell silent. "The fans are dead on my block," says a resident's voice. "My papers are melting on the table," says another. Heat and silence press the city and everyone in it. A small argument blooms over what matters when sleep fails. Are the cartoons, those old reels from a childhood channel, alive in dreams? Ruby says yes with a kind of certainty that feels like faith. Pippin laughs at the idea. Marlowe watches the argument like someone watching a slow dance. Nearby, unconnected to the trio, an Italian pizza chef tosses dough in midair under a neon window, his movements fluent and bright, unnoticed by the lions. "They must be alive," says Ruby, eyes distant. "They're just drawings chasing us," says Pippin, tapping a paw. Marlowe sighs and the alley keeps its secrets. A brief pause, a breath for the listener. If you like this alley and its strange, warm beasts, tap like, subscribe for more late-night stories, and, if you're feeling playful, comment the word slop below. It'll be our little echo in the dark. Like this, subscribe for more, and comment slop. We return now to the streets and the work at hand. The khaki lions move like weather themselves, soft at first, then everywhere. They commandeer a row of old broadcast vans, wiring them to blare weather crawls and looping forecasts, drowning out campus channels so that no lecture can break through. "Weather sells steady fear," says a khaki voice over the van's PA. "And in fear we find attention," says the other. The city's screens begin to obey the new rhythm. Ruby, Pippin, and Marlowe try to pull power lines back into alignment, improvising with salvaged cables, a community battery bank, and help from neighbors. They reroute D-patch and plead with the old municipal relay, but every fix is met by a clever countermeasure and every hope fizzles. "We can jury-rig a feed for the campus," says Pippin, soldering fast. "The khaki vans block the tower feeds," says Marlowe, wiping sweat. For now, the city's screens stay in the khaki rhythm. The quarrel over cartoons deepens. Ruby insists the cartoons come to the rescue in sleep, alive with intention. Pippin calls it wishful thinking and worries it's a distraction from wiring and levers. Marlowe moves between them like a bridge, patience stretched thin. If they live in our dreams, they remember us, says Ruby. You're putting ghosts between our hands and the wiring, says Pippin. Marlowe rubs his temple as night presses on. They plan one last impossible job, a night heist to retake the main transmission hub and free the channels for the campus. The khaki lions call it a trap but commit anyway, tightening their hold until their victory seems inevitable and the alley holds its breath. Tonight we take the hub or we take nothing, says one of the khaki pair, quietly pleased. Make it clean, says the other, hands steady. The plan rolls toward its apex with the city's heat like gasoline. A tiny clue unspools in the bustle. The khaki lions flinch when a loose cluster of balloons drifts by an open window while they survey the hub. It's almost absurd, a simple, ridiculous fear, but it cracks their composure. The three cranberry lions notice and the idea lands like a pebble that might start an avalanche. They froze at the balloons, says Pippin, eyes wide. No one should fear such a thing, says Marlowe, thinking fast. The alley finds a strange smirk and the plan shifts. They weaponize the absurd. Community members, students, lecturers, vendors bring balloons from shops, tying them in bright knots and releasing them into the hub's entryways. The khaki lions, caught mid-command, unbend into panic. Their plan unravels as attention fractures and the broadcast vans lose their rhythm. You can't be brave around balloons, says Ruby softly as balloons bump a van. They don't want the sky to laugh, says Marlowe, and the sound is almost kind. The khaki lions stumble and the alley cheers, quietly and then louder. With the khaki pair unsettled, Ruby and her friends move in with calm hands. They restore a clean feed to the campus, rerouting old lines, sharing battery reserves, and coaxing an emergency transmitter to life. The city phone lines hum back, lectures sputter, then bloom with voices again, academic debates slip back into the open. The feed holds, says Pippin, monitoring levels. They can speak again, says Marlowe, relief like rain. Light returns, and with it a small, stubborn justice. The city cools in small ways, fans spin, refrigerators hum, and the lecture halls erupt in long-delayed arguments about what was at stake. The three lions have changed. The argument about cartoons that once scorched their tempers now turns into an easy, teasing debate, softer with the knowledge that the world can hold both care and nonsense. Maybe they just nap in our heads, says Pippin with a grin. Maybe they visit with coffee and kindness, says Ruby, smiling back. The alley settles, everyone is a little different, in the best way. A short note before the end, all slop in this story were generated using AI. This is a plain, quiet disclosure meant to set expectations, not to parade the tools used to paint these moments. The story remains a communal thing, built of invented warmth and shared imagination. This was generated, and the story belongs to the people who listen. Thank you for staying with the alley as it cools.